It's a fixer-upper, that's for sure. But it's in good shape for how old it must be. Look at the size of this table. Carved from a single piece of stone, yet so ornately carved. Imagine the feast that must have been held here. And what's this? Some sort of mechanical device from the looks of things. The sun and the moon are attached by these rods. And look, these are the stars, but no constellations I've ever seen before. Hey, why don't you turn that key and see what happens? How curious. Each part rotating independently. Fascinating. Where is that light coming from? It's so bright. What the? It's the same hall, but now look at its splendor. And where did all these people come from? Hello? Excuse me? We are in need of some beverages. How rude. It seems like they can't even see or hear us. Well, except that woman over there. She's looking right at us.
Okay, and welcome back. We're going to talk about Big Saturday.
So yeah, this is Saturday, E3 2019.
And we're taken to the field for the big battle as our own characters.
Yeah.
For the Saturday battle.
I've really, do you remember when we first started and we were really into the idea of having our character battle on the Sunday and monstering on the Saturday because it felt safer? Mm-hmm. You know, if you lost your character on the Sunday, it wouldn't be such a big deal. I really enjoy the risk and the RP that comes out.
The reward
of having your character on the field on the Saturday.
Massively.
Is actually really cool. I think it's actually my favourite way of doing it.
Yeah, definitely.
Because having that, all of that stuff, you take to the field as your character in the big battle, and then you've got the rest of the event. If you succeed, you've got the rest of the event to kind of, mull over that and everything that entails. It's great. It's fantastic.
Yeah, rolling that dice, right? So I kind of went down a little bit earlier than everyone else because I wanted to go and join the runners.
Yeah.
Met them.
Well, they had set you an earlier time, hadn't they, down at the gate itself?
Well, it was just get there, I think it was for 10:30, I want to say, something like that.
The rest of us didn't get there till 11, so...
Met us, wrote my name in the book, introduced us to the field marshal.
So how does it actually work? So
so runners are, in this context, are exactly what they said on the tin. Right? We basically have to follow the leader to the field marshal, and the field marshal will basically say, go and tell such and such to go and do this, or find out what's going on over there, and then someone would run off and go and do that. So basically our job was we met, right? They hand out medical, a card to each of us that can get us out of jail for free type thing if we get cleaved or a hit points. And write a name in the book and off we go, basically. So try and get to know the different commanders, but it's really hard to tell who all the different commanders for all the different nations are. So I know who Navarre are, right, with Brenos, and I tried to introduce myself to a few other people, trying to get a view on who was actually in command of the different nations. That proved fairly difficult because there's a big hustle of people. So actually going through the gate, it was right, I'm just going to follow the field marshal and see what happens. You know what I mean? So tell me about your first...
So yeah, we basically just gather up as the Navarchers. There's 12 of us as archers, and then there's a whole bunch of people acting as bow guard. It was really cool. I'll tell you what was really cool was in this battle, it was kind of really finding who my character is in the battle, what role I have, how I function on the battlefield. I guess I've always had this thing of am I a physic, am I an archer, but working out exactly how much of each of those two games Talas wants was really good fun. But joining our unit was amazing. Being someone who is, I guess, more of a veteran of that unit. I've fought battles as part of this unit. I'm kind of not really, but kind of like a sub commander in the unit. We don't we've basically got Kaylee, who's the leader, and sort of Sparrow, who's kind of the second. and you just follow Sparrow really under any situations.
You're a veteran of the unit. That's,
but I feel like a centurion kind of thing, right? And so I get introduced to people. This is Talis, and people can ask me questions, and I can kind of help and stuff. It's a really kind of, as I say, like that sub commander role is a really rewarding place to play in the unit. The main thrust of the battle is basically, so we have to...
We're fighting the Jotun.
Yeah, we're fighting the Jotun.
Again.
Right. And fighting the Jotun's always good fun, actually.
I like the Jotun. It's they're fun to fight. They're fun to play as.
Yeah.
So fighting the Jotun, I think we have to basically go through the big main field, and then get to the gate. Go through the gate, get to the scrubland, find a stone, and then hold the stone for a certain amount of time. I think we had to hold the first objective for a certain amount of time as well, something like that. And that was the kind of battle plan that we're going to go. Immediately, I can see the idea of trying to hold the gate and trying to... There was the idea of splitting of forces.
Right.
Was something that I was immediately aware of with this as the whole plan as a concept, right?
Yeah.
Because you have to kind of... Yeah, anyway.
Yeah.
So we all go through the gate, and I'm tagging along with the field marshal who's like just surveying this, and it's cool because you get like a front row seat on the just to watch all the different units heading out in their own individual formations, and they looked good.
Yeah.
Right? Like it was a really well ordered. Like I felt really at that moment like really proud and confident of what was going to happen, especially when Navarre come out, big old blob of Navarre, and it's like, right, someone's to get a Navarre runner. Tell Brenos to go into those woods and clear them out.
Yeah.
And it was just like watching Navarre heading into the forest. I was like, man, Navarre are going to fuck some shit up.
Yeah.
That's what I felt. Also, I think they sent some High Guard in as well to support.
Yeah.
And then the main front line made up of the other units. There was Dawn there.
Yeah.
Was the League there or were they mercenaries?
I think
the League were there.
Oh, maybe.
Sure?
Yeah, you might be
were
right,
there. I'm going to forget someone.
Urizen
were there.
Yeah.
Urizen, yeah. And
it felt really
Imperial
cool
Orcs on the other side.
Imperial Orcs on the other side, they were badass actually.
Yeah,
fighting against the Imperial Orcs is
you never want to see a bunch of Imperial Orcs charge at you.
Yeah.
Even if they are monstering.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the rest of the nations kind of formed out along the tree line to their left and engaged a line of the enemy.
So do you get dispatched mainly to go and speak with the Navarre, or you just sent to any?
It can
group?
be any group,
right?
But there were 9 of us.
Yeah,
and there's only so many orders you need to do on these big.
Sure.
It was just like everyone was, and there were people that were like, "I'll do it," you know what I mean? And they were really keen. I was like, "There's a big battle. This is going to take a while. I'm just going to hang out and watch all this stuff for the time being, and while other people are well up for it, I'll just chill out."
Yeah.
Then what happened to you guys in the woods?
So, our main target, bear in mind the Jotun normally in heavy armour, a lot of them are, which is kind of the anti-arrow
they were
thing.
Humans this time.
Yeah, and there were some sort of people who were essentially like Jotun versions of the Marchers, who were basically working within this kind of Jotun force. So they had archers, they had pike
treachery. Yeah, archers. They had
which is quite unusual for the Jotun. Jotun normally don't have any archers or anything like that.
They brought their game, didn't they not?
Yeah, it really changed up the battle, having like these two different types of very different forces.
Whenever you're fighting and people aren't wearing masks, it's a lot harder to immediately at a glance tell which side everyone's on. You have to take a minute and be like, right, what's happening around me? Who potentially are those people? Which direction they headed in? You know.
Well, the Empire is just so brightly coloured in terms of all the different visuals of what it is to fight in an Empire army, which is essentially lots of different nations drawn together. Like, when you're fighting against
being in the command blob. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
The nations fight like the nations do.
Yeah.
Right? Their backstory fit how they fight on the battlefield.
Yeah.
It's like really interesting.
I've wondered about that because you get like, as an archer, I tend to get quite a good view of the skirmish level of battle. Right? I can see the different channels down which the different forces are pushing or where they're struggling, stuff like that.
Situational awareness, right?
But you guys have an even broader view than that, right?
No, well, this was the broader view at the start of the battle because everyone knows where everyone else is.
Yeah.
Right. So, tell us about what happened in the woods, so I can tell the rest of this.
So basically, we head in, and our target as the Navarches are these heralds, which are basically, they're not in heavy armor.
Robish.
They're robish kind of mages of various sort of. I can't remember what they all are, but yeah, they're all a specific season.
You just want to go in there and kill them.
Yeah, so like they're the targets that we're sort of really going to try and bring down. It was really cool. It was really cool to basically just be shooting up a lot of these, heralds, targeting out, picking out things, and then down on our left flank there's this fort.
This is before we go into the other area. Was that in the first set of woods? There was a fort there.
Oh no, shit. You know what? I've completely forgotten about... Yeah, the push into the woods. Sorry, I was actually thinking the push in the woods when we get through the gate.
No.
At the very, very beginning of the battle, we push into the woods and we're pushing up against this. It just looks like a fairly small Jotun force, actually, from first observation. But when we engaged them, they hit us hard, like really hard. And we weren't in order. I think that was the thing. Like, we had a lot of forces, but they weren't acting as a unified force.
They were just
patches of people, maybe. Right? And we hadn't formed our line properly, and they just hit it basically in the center of the line, really, really hard and fast, and everyone, like, it broke, and everyone started to run.
It was crazy to see. Can you imagine, like, we're walking around, we're looking at the line, everything's going on, and then, like, look back, Navarre's going into the woods, carry on doing this stuff, look back again, and it's just Navarre streaming out of the woods. Yeah. And there's, like, orcs and people, like, right on their asses. It looks vicious.
There's people, right, so I'm running, right, I'm literally running through the woods with my bow. There's points where I'm literally just, like, while running, turning and shooting, right, just to slow people down, right, because we're just getting run down. And there's people, like, not behind me, like, left and right of me, literally getting, like, cleaved and taken down.
Yeah.
Like, the only reason that's not happening to me is because I happen to be a little bit faster than the person that's behind me.
Yeah.
Like, that's...
Put your running shoes on.
Yeah, it was just a flat run across, like, difficult woodland terrain. It was crazy.
I was like, we're fucking done for. Like, what the fuck happened? Do you know what I mean? Like, what's in the woods? And the commander's like, the field marshal's like, calm as a fucking cucumber. I'm like, if I was a commander, I'd be like, we're all gonna die! We're gonna get the fuck out of here! Let's get to the fucking gate! Like, that's why I'm not a field marshal, right? It
was like, actually seeing that, like we routed, like, hardcore routed.
But you formed back up again.
But when we got through the woods and we hit the other side, I think Brenos and some of the other commanders, and bear in mind, we've actually got quite a few new people in command roles. Mm-hmm. Because we lost so much of the Navarre military last season. Navarre's actually taken a big hit in terms of, like, experienced leadership, I see. And I don't know about the various levels of experience of all of these different commanders. Some of them may be very experienced. But nonetheless, they're taking on these roles for the first time. So to turn around the force that was hit as hard as we were and was running really, like, in flight at that point, to turn everyone round, form a line, and then hit them hard when they came through the woods, and then push back hard. Yeah,
it was the thing was that no orders were given. It was like, literally, let's see how this plays out. There was faith in Navarre from the front. You know,
it was great. Like, to suddenly smash into them and clear them out and basically reverse it and send them running. It was fantastic. Like, yeah.
But we lost Lindy.
We did, and that was. Yeah,
another Ashbourne down. It's brutal.
I think like the turnover was like 10 minutes, or maybe even 5 minutes. Like, we got pushed out and got pushed in, but 5 minutes is your bleed time, easy.
It sucks that it's like on the first Saturday battle, get killed right at the start of the big battle. Yeah. That sucks.
Yeah. I mean, literally taken out straight away. When we went back in, I thought there was a chance we were able to get him back, but I didn't even see his body. I mean, the first action of the first battle on the Saturday, it's a heavy hit, right?
It's rough.
And we also lost Tyrus, who's a member of the Navarches as well. He acts as one of the Bogards.
One of the what?
One of the Navarches got too. So like, yeah, and it's kind of, yeah, it was strange to take like those two hits early. So like my military units lost somebody, and my striding's lost somebody, you know, and I can't help them, right?
Well, give it back to them, right?
I can't even find Lindir's body, right? You know, it was hard. It was hard, right? And like I'm like, okay, we just got to go and get them, kind of thing. Like, you know, like we're just going to destroy them now.
Yeah, we're going to kill all of them.
And but like OC as well, I'm just like, I remember Kaylee telling me that Tyrus was dead, and I was just like, this is crazy. Like this early, I just remember like
crazy.
Yeah, like the situation, like everyone up and down the line was just talking about like the flight out of the woods was crazy.
Well, eventually I think people just kind of like we got organised and just ripped straight through them, right?
Yeah, and just blasted through the gate basically. I think didn't Dawn do the hammer
really
blow through the gate?
There was some really nice encirclements where whole swathes of orcs got mullered. It was really good.
I think we pushed them out of the forest actually into another force,
they
just got
there
destroyed.
There was all sorts of encirclements happening. It was really nice. But yeah, and then the gate. Yeah. The gate is always rough.
Yeah.
Jesus.
But ultimately, I think forces like Dawn and so on just punched through. I didn't actually see. It was so crazy.
It was crazy. So they all bunch up at the door, punch through, and then I'm like, what's going on in there? And then more troops are going in there, and it's just this, it's hot, and there's just clashing. And I'm like, I follow the field marshal in, and we're in this just mess of like this punched out little square box for all of us are fighting out of, and it's just like intense face to face, stabby bashy death and dismay. It was fantastic. I found this one lady in there and she was like, yeah, I'm not too good with confined spaces, and I'm like, hey, if you get nervous and I'm here, then we'll get the fuck out of here. But it was like, it was a lot. But do you know what? I'm making it sound like it was really bad, but it was fine. You know what I mean? It was everyone was in good.
That's why you play, right?
Refs everywhere, by the way, ready to step in when everything went too south. It was awesome though. It was a spectacle, and like all these times, it's just like, well, we're never going to get through all this, and then slowly but surely, I did my first Empower.
Yeah. So what did you do? Like, how did that?
So I basically was looking for pole arms. That was my thing. I was like, I want to find someone with a pole arm and experienced players as well, so they know what Empower potentially does, and people that generally look competent. So I find a nice man, big shiny armour, who was doing some work, and I went up to him and went, bam, you know, how do you fancy being empowered? And he goes, well, that would be really, really nice. So I took him he stepped back from the line, put my hand on his shoulder, and I did my seafaring Rage of the Sea chat. Yeah. And then empowered him. He went back and knocked a guy down on his arse. It was fantastic. Great. It worked exactly how I wanted it to happen. Didn't break the line, obviously, but it was like, it was cool just to kind of see it in action, right?
And like you get to give people that bit of game, right? Yeah. It's really cool.
It's fun and like G'ing people on.
Yeah.
Good times, you know?
How much actual combat did you get? Like in terms of, were you often forced to take the line or did you avoid it?
It happened at points, but not really.
Right.
And it was also nice, because I was carrying a shield as well as a sword, that people would say to me, get in the line, and I would respond with, I'm a runner, and they would leave me the fuck alone.
Right. Interesting.
Which was interesting.
Yeah, I think...
I expected to have to be like... That wouldn't be... But no, people respect runners.
No, I think that's very true, actually. In fact, that's happened a few times to me, where... if you've got a shield, often someone will call you into the line. And if you're a physic, or if you're something like whatever other role you think you have, if you've got a shield, there's points where
if you're a shield, you're in the wall. Yeah, a lot of the time because shit gets so crazy, and you need people on the wall with a shield.
And you can be whatever thing you're doing, you can be pulled out of it and stuck in there to plug a hole for a little bit. Yeah. Right, but the one role that wouldn't happen with would be the runners, right? Because I think everyone understands the ferrying of information and just.
Well, it's also it gets so chaotic. Yeah. Like especially in the woods, like when we first went from like after the initial beachhead type thing through the woods started to open up and we started to push our way in. There was that bit where we started to form a big line heading out, destroying the enemy, and leaving a rear guard by the gate. Mm-hmm. And we got further and further and further, but we're a line.
Yeah.
And now there was just dead space behind us, apart from some very small amount of units.
Yeah.
And there was this kind of like, the guys at the gate were holding, then a bunch of people went to reinforce, which was really fucking cool because they really needed them to win this little fight. But then there was this really lovely action where they all pulled back and then formed the rear part of the wall. Yeah, rear part of the army. So effectively the army detached itself from its escape route.
Right.
Right?
Interesting.
And that's when, just pushing through the woods, there was a whole feeling of like, no one knew where the objective was.
Right.
So the army's blind. No one knows. And everything's sent by word of mouth. So the command structure doesn't know.
Right.
So there's all sorts of wandering around trying to like get messages out.
Yeah, at this point, basically, in the battlefield level, it was essentially just shooting heralds when I see them. And then the other thing
fight, like, describe what you're fighting.
So that's the really interesting thing about it. You have blocks of heavy infantry, heavy armor, shields,
shiny,
pole arms, the works, right? Really well equipped forces. Then you have these kind of marcher folk, and they have like pike walls and archers. So you got already two quite dynamic foes to face. Yeah, and then you've got these heralds that are kind of going around, sort of geeing people up and all kinds of other things, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was great. Like the foe was difficult, but I felt we were doing, like, in the engagements we had against them, I felt we were doing very well.
It looked as though everyone had a pretty damn good fight.
Yeah,
there was some action near the fort, right? That was
yeah. So I think like basically some people thought that there was some value in the fort.
Yeah,
I don't know if maybe they thought the stone might have been in there. I
want to say Dawn.
Yeah, I think it probably was.
Yeah,
and but to be honest with you, the forces were so merged because the lines, like, and nobody knew exactly where the objective was.
And there was also the kind of like, if you want to make like a solid front line, this was a lot more of an undulating thing because of the nature of the environment. So it's really hard to get the idea of strength and where the enemy were, right? Yeah. Like, knowledge of where the enemy were and how fights were going was really important. But it was very chaotic.
Oh, yeah, it was crazy.
If the field marshal was, like, walking up to bits that were problematic, drawing a sword and just bashing dudes.
That's amazing.
Just because it was, like, and just getting involved. It was awesome.
That's great.
It was really cool seeing, like, what the fuck's he doing? And he's just there just going, this needs to be sorted out. And he's just there, like, bashing guys, just trying to get them out of the way. Really cool.
But I started getting a lot more involved in working with our infantry by basically moving to the side of the unit, picking out someone in armor that I can penetrate or shooting legs, and just taking out people in the line. And it was this battle for me where I really found the role that I feel that Talis ideally wants to play on the battlefield, which is helping drive the line forward, and basically taking out targets. You're going to
get yourself fucking killed.
Probably going to get myself killed.
You're going to get yourself killed.
But it felt really good to be like trying to help with aggressive moves and taking people out and actually being useful to the people in the line and having them turn like, that's good. That's a good shot.
Having an infantry as frontline infantry, having an archer that's good with your unit is so powerful.
Being able to hit people on units on the side, especially in the woods, because there's places you can simply stand, which the natural barrier stops them being able to get to you. So, and they can see that you're going to shoot them, but the only thing they can engage with is the force that's in front of them.
There's also up close in small skirmishes. Say if there's one polearm being a real dick and holding back an entire unit of people, bring an archer out, two-handed weapon.
Yeah.
Good luck. You are doing fantastically against this shield wall.
Yeah.
Guess what? I've got a bow and arrow.
Yeah.
GG.
It was really good. I mean, I felt like I did some good shots. I was effective in helping move things. It was a really good fun role to play, and then shooting heralds as well. Although actually I didn't make that as much of my target. I was because everyone else in the archers, 12 archers, right? And there's many more in the Empire as well.
Hold on, I remember seeing Navarre rout at one stage, or run very fast in the opposite direction.
I think that was more of a redeployment, but I wasn't part of that. I saw it, but
Right.
I was at this point. I was at the fort, basically with Dawn, fighting a group of these
Dawn
Marcher
was
people.
stuck by the fortress, right?
Yeah, and
Like
I don't know what was happening there. Like, so I ended up just leaving them because I just really didn't understand what was going on.
There was a lot of, I know that the runners went to them a lot and were like, pull back, but they were just stuck on in there like Dawn should be. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Glory,
defeat
So
all
good.
the enemy. Yeah.
oh man, I do really like Dawn actually.
I really like Dawn.
And some of the characters, they have like people with a lot of bravado in Dawn. Sometimes that you'll get someone who'll just stand up and be like, "Aha, let's go and kill them," kind of thing. You know, just like really pro action. You know.
Yeah, they just seem like a very life expectancy sort sometimes. But they
It felt like
do it gloriously.
it felt like the dream of Teddy Roosevelt's Rough Riders.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
Like
get
this
that.
kind of ride and die style.
Yeah, so they eventually found the thing and sat on it for 20 minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
And then there was some really nice... we'll give it 5 more minutes. That's how confident everyone was. We'll give it 5 more minutes, make sure we've done it. And then there was just a really nice, orderly...
Yeah.
The retreat out the woods was just textbook.
I didn't notice any problems at all.
No, it was really nicely done.
There was this really cool bit where just before we were pulling out, Kaylee kind of climbed on top of like this log thing and was like standing above it to see, like, and survey things, and it was just as Navarchas were all formed up there, and she was just kind of pointing us out where to go and stuff, and like following orders and stuff, and actually having a military structure and being pointed in different directions. It was like super cool, right?
You were like, yeah, this is us getting to work.
Yeah,
It's
it
business time.
really felt great.
It's business time,
right? I think like it's interesting being right because Antonio does like the command really really well, but it's also like it's, as I say, it's cool to be like someone who can help pass on that communication, right? Who can be a sub commander in a sense. So you can go, look, okay, she said we're going here, you know, then when we go. Kind of thing. It's cool, right? And I can pass that down the line a little bit. That was a really cool, fun role to play.
Speaking of business time,
yeah,
Captain Prospero was on the battle line.
I heard about this.
He would, in that scrum bit, you know, when everything's kicking off,
Right.
he was there informing the enemy how lucky they were to be facing Captain Prospero, and how if they survived the day, then they could tell people that they had faced against him.
Yeah.
And it was in all of this chaos.
Yeah.
He's RPing like a fucking boss.
It's so good. Like when you come across those people, and there was this great guy who I'll talk about more tomorrow, this Dornish guy who was just like really awesome personality RPing. It's great.
Yeah, there's a lot of this, by the way. Like, we don't mention every little hero we see across the battlefield, but man, there's loads of people out there doing their own thing, and it's sometimes you come across gems in this like sea of chaos. You know what I mean?
It's really cool. It's like you tune into the right part of the battle movie, right?
Yeah.
And you've gone to the bit where the camera's switched. It's flicked over to like someone doing like the heroic thing. You know, like
or the band.
Yeah.
Doing
Yeah.
like you walk past a guy that's playing a violin or some shit in this, and you're like, what the? And then you
Yeah.
carry on going. You know,
It's so good.
Especially being a runner, I got loads of like big view of the battlefield. Got to see all sorts of different nations doing all sorts of different things. It was fantastic. Yeah.
One thing I had and I kind of developed was really this sense more and more in this philosophy of just visually knowing people.
Yeah.
Like not necessarily even having them as people who you've talked to, OCIC.
Knowing who they are and what they generally
seeing
need
a face
yeah.
and then seeing that face in battle, it does this thing in my mind where it basically creates like a 5 meter circle around that point on the battlefield that I care about. And then the more and more people you know, and they're the more and more of those circles that are down the line, and you can't help them all, right? You can't communicate with them all, but they're all important. It's kind of cool having that as like how your feelings towards like the Empire kind of grow.
Well, and personal relationships,
it's
right?
really
You don't
cool.
want certain people to die. I think that's a very human reaction, right?
It's great. I loved it. So yeah, it was just awesome. It was a really cool.
It was a really good battle. I really enjoyed it. I think both sides had a good time.
Yeah,
I got that feeling.
It was hard fought, but we prevailed. It felt fantastic.
Yeah, I also thought like just because of the way it started and the way that like it made everyone a bit more G'd up to do better. I think it was a
and the fact we did do better, right? Like because after that heavy hit at the beginning, anything could have happened to the morale and the organisation of the Navari forces. Mm-hmm. But the fact that we responded that well, I think, was really good on everybody.
Totally. After the battle, we had a burrito.
Yeah, actually, I had myself a.
What do you have?
I had noodles, chicken noodles.
Oh.
That was very nice.
Oh,
very welcome.
Food, all good. The traders are really, really good. The guy was like, "We got hot sauce," and I was like, "Show me what you got." And he was like,
"Show me what you got."
He went, "This one's like this one." I was aware of the first one, and he went to the second one. These two are homemade, and this one, and then this one's really hot. I went, "I'll have a really hot one, please." And he went, "Are you sure?" And I was like, "Listen, son, this ain't my first rodeo.
I made hot sauce.
Let's do this." It was delicious.
Yeah.
It was perfect. I really enjoyed it. It was a bit blasphemous because it had chips in it.
Right.
But it reminded me of an Oregon burrito, which has got potato in it.
Okay, interesting.
So chips, it was excellent.
Yeah.
That's my burrito review. Right. I then went to get elected.
Yeah. So this was a crazy thing. Like straight after the battle.
It was it was in the afternoon, wasn't it?
But bear in mind, you go through the process of
like
you take all your armor off, you eat, you chill out, and then into the election.
Yeah.
It was, it's a strange shift of gears, right? Moving from battlefield adrenaline to political adrenaline. Yeah,
and it was also like I really gave a lot to the battle, and it was like right now, there's a whole new thing I'm going to be doing to concentrate on and do. Yeah. So it was really fun just jumping kind of straight into that kind of mindset. So going down there, no idea what to expect, and it was like there was Fell was outside, had a bit of a chat with him.
Right.
He.
So who's Fell? Sorry.
Sorry, the York fellow.
Oh right, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And we had a bit of a chat because their real name is their second name and their family name is their first name.
Right, I see. So
Skywise, yeah, exactly.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, had a bit of a chinwag with him, and it was like kind of good to touch base. Then I tried to have a bit of a chat with a couple of other senators to try and ask them about this. The role, which is a research role to the Feni, is not the most popular thing in the Senate.
Right.
People. I don't want to be specific, but there were people that weren't massively, hugely fan of the role, right? As a concept, because there were some strange definition issues with like, I don't want to get into it.
Yeah.
So it was kind of hard to get a lot of attention when you're talking about this stuff and trying to get some ideas of what people actually wanted. But I had a game plan.
Right.
Within 24 hours, no real wiki help, just through talking to other players, I had enough that was like, I can probably survive a non-too invasive questioning on what I wanted to do.
Sure.
So there's like a rope, like in a club where they have a rope across the door. They have that at the Senate.
Okay.
And they have to let you in, and you're not supposed to be armed. A few people were armed in there, by the way. There's a couple of daggers here and there.
Interesting.
And
a two Brutus.
I think there was loads of people there this time. That's the feeling I got. It was busy.
Right.
It was a busy day.
It seemed that. So we went round because basically we can't go through because it's for only people who are going to speak on the floor. But there is like a paupers gallery. So you can go around to the side. So we went there, and it was heaving in there.
Yeah, and it's hot too.
Yeah, and I honestly couldn't see you. I think you were busy getting checked away.
I was in the back, and there was like an antechamber room.
Is there?
Where all the kind of people, the candidates, were like hanging out.
Interesting. So there's like a public display that you can see, which is the Senate floor.
Yeah, and
then there's a room behind it. Wow, I didn't know that.
Back there, yeah. And then it's like, tiny, I say rooms.
That's really cool.
But they were full. It was hard to get an idea of scale because they're full.
That's cool, though, that there is that space.
We all
that creates a lot of game.
But it was like, luckily, mine was fairly early. So they were like, right, we'll do this thing, and we're calling for. And then I heard my name be called out by my senator who nominated me.
Wow.
Yeah, it's game face. It is game face though.
So good, yeah.
Because someone mentions your name.
Yeah, you've got to step out.
And there's loads of people there, and you have to step out. And there's literally like, so the room is like, half the room is like just senators. Yeah. Galore. All the senators, all the different nations, all hanging out, looking at stuff. Behind me is the Imperatrix sitting on her throne.
Yeah.
And a bunch of people.
Well, Throne Guard are in there, right?
It's just a lot, Ian. There's a lot going on when you first walk in. The Empress is kind of like looking down, and she's kind of like hanging out, and it's just like, why did you just like? Should I bow? Like, what's the no, I shouldn't bow. Don't do that. Like, we'll walk out. Do I make eye contact with said senators? Yes, I should. So I'm looking around the room, and I'm trying to basically be like as confident as I can be in that circumstance.
Yeah.
And the way it works is, you introduce yourself.
Right.
Brevity. They're all about brevity. They want you to be as quick as possible in everything you say.
Right.
Say your name and like a sentence on why you want to do it.
Right.
And then 3 senators ask a question each.
Right.
And then basically the questions are kind of staggered to each different candidate.
Interesting.
So they ask us questions, and do you know what? I don't think I embarrassed myself. Let me put it this way. I don't think I embarrassed myself.
Right.
That's how I feel about it. And I feel like it's, for me, like personally, it was a win.
Yeah.
Because it was like, basically there were 4 candidates.
Okay.
And 2 of them had written books on the subject.
Okay. Right.
Okay. When you're saying, what the fuck do you know about it? They say, I wrote the book on it. Is a pretty good response to... Yeah, that's a good response in any sort of argument, right? So, yeah. So I didn't go near any illusions of victory.
Yeah.
But I tried to be a bit more of the, I don't know, like ambassadorial type action is what's required here, you know?
Research is about more than just...
Yeah, we need to get out there. And there was a few bits of RP that I kind of picked up that I kind of used to incorporate into my argument.
Yeah. I like that though, as a political stance, you know, like that's
I was like,
let's research by getting involved, kind of thing.
Yeah, it's kind of I don't want to go too much. This is the problem, right? If I'm going to go down the political game, there's loads of I've missed out stuff in the story already.
Yeah,
that I don't think is cool me mentioning.
Yeah,
right. There's like, if there is political game, then it's going to be really interesting to see how we even talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is good because we're talking about it as a first interaction with it.
Almost as well.
But I think maybe we'll see how it goes, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. You're involved potentially in a lot of game there and with a lot of interest.
Okay. Oh, yeah. So you know how the Fawns Council turned around and then everyone voted behind them? Not in the fucking Senate. You sit there face forward to receive your punishment.
Right.
So... They asked their 3 questions. Everyone's like, sweet, that was a good debate, whatever. They said try and use less commas. I think I had 5 in mine or something like that. Like, I don't think I went too long, but, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
So they all fan out, all the different senators, to vote for you.
Right.
I got 2 votes, both of my senators from Navarre. Thank you guys so much for voting for me and not leaving me like
No, that's amazing.
But then,
though, right?
So Leafy, one of the senators that first came up with this and told us about it, he leaned forward and he went, "Oh, really sorry, man," or whatever type thing. And I'll go, "No, I didn't want it. I just wanted to dip my toe in and get an idea for the carry on. You know what I mean? Now it's good to get an idea of faces, get your face shown. Yeah. Try and like see what it's all about. Yeah. And
that's exactly true, by the way.
He's been really helpful with the idea of doing future stuff. I don't know where I'm at with it. If I'm going to see, right? I don't want to talk too much about my aspirations. I think it's always good to talk about aspirations posthumously in this sort of environment. I've got some plans for the future. We'll see how it goes.
I think the idea is it's like as well with these things, it's these aspirations may come to nothing or they may be altered into something else. Yeah. They're quite ephemeral at times in some ways.
But it's more like I don't want to kind of like put something up that I'm not going to do, or also that it might affect the game. Yeah, right? There's a certain responsibility.
I think there's definitely there's certain things, especially with that part of the game, that I see we're just not going to be able to go into, sadly, and that's just how it is. But it was great. Like the fact that you did it.
Hey,
It was awesome.
I loved it as an experience. I'll be back again to do something, even if it is running for elections and losing every single goddamn time. I think it still could be a really good time generally.
Yeah, totally.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I think there's a lot of good players and a lot of game in there.
Even if you role played out being the guy he's gone for 60 positions and failed 60 times.
He's stepping up to the bat again.
He's a gamer.
Yeah, he's stood in a lot of every single election year for certain positions and never won anything for like 20 in a row.
Yeah, he's that guy. I mean, he still believes.
Yeah, he's one of the major political forces in the empire right now.
Yeah,
he never won an election. The soft power, the unelectable.
He stands on a platform of unelectability.
Yeah, exactly. Ladies and gentlemen of the empire, you know you shall not vote for me, so let's not even pretend that's a thing.
Oh, dude. But I think the thing was, again, straight after that, so straight after the election.
Yeah, skirmish.
It's a skirmish. So again, a massive, especially for you, a shift in gears again.
Just, it's what an event.
So much.
This is why I think we were a bit worried about a lot of this stuff, and maybe we were a bit squishy on the Friday. There's so much going on in this event. Straight into a skirmish.
And this skirmish, by the way, is incredible.
Well, I say straight into a skirmish. There was a lot of fucking about at the gate, right? Because there was a lot of different numbers, and they thought we were going to overflow.
I think at first they thought it was going to be 60, then 70 people, then 80.
This was the second skirmish.
Yeah.
One skirmish went off, and then the second skirmish lined up. And the first skirmish went fairly well, from what I understand. Second skirmish, it was 60 at first, then it went up to 80, and then it was like we didn't know whether it was 60 or 80, and then we'll just see when we went through the gate on the thing.
Yeah.
I felt pretty fucking confident.
I did
you?
feel confident.
There were some good faces in that crowd.
I was looking up and down the line, and they were all like people you can rely on. Right?
We've been told that this was going to be the real deal this fight, right?
So we got told basically it was essentially a monster hunt, and there was a big beastie that we had to go and kill.
Valorn as well.
Yeah, this is all Valorn stuff, and we're going out with Dawn.
We want to go and kill Valorn.
Yeah, it was awesome. There was other nations there as well. I think Highguard were with us as well. But it was cool.
Was it Highguard or was it Dawn? I think it
Well,
was
Dawn were with us for sure.
Yeah.
There's a really good bit.
So we all go through... Oh yeah, Dawn, of course they were. There was a lot of vocal Dawn players, which were hilarious.
Yeah, so the thing is, like, the idea was going to be, I think, that Dawn hit the monster.
Yeah, they were going to be the monster hunters, while the rest of us...
We would cover the line.
Thin the line of the
Exactly.
Valorn. This was the plan.
This was the plan. So we go through.
Smoke.
Everywhere.
Loads and loads of fucking smoke, right?
And it's a long... The thing is, as well, they set us up with this long walk to where we're going to be fighting.
It's in the woods.
But deeper in the woods.
Yeah, so we're walking along, smoke everywhere, no enemy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, do we have scouts? And they're like, yeah, they're already out. And I'm like, all right, that's good. Scouts are good. At least they'll be able to tell us before anything goes really badly wrong. And the ominous nature of it, everyone knew that party time was about to happen, and it wasn't going to be like a good time for us, right?
And then there was a scream. And then, that kind of Valorn howl.
I can't even do it justice.
No.
It's terrifying in the woods,
when
right?
you hear it, right? And it's like, and then they just started emerging from the mist.
Well, we came through, we went down that corridor of death that just was like this enclosed corridor that was like, this is the perfect place for an ambush. And we just came out of there. And then it was like, we broke through. And at first I saw mixed Valorn husks, the zombies.
Yeah, some were all...
And this one zombie,
yeah.
there's this big brush in front of us.
Yeah.
The zombie didn't give a fuck. He just went straight through the brush towards us. And I was like, hats off to you, whoever that is, going straight through the brush at us. And then more of them started appearing. And then, I should say, I borrowed a two-handed mage.
Staff, yeah.
Interestingly, it weighs a lot more than my sword.
Right.
And it made me think about how easy it is to overhit with a two-handed weapon.
Yeah.
Like it's because of the nature of having two hands. Anyway, just an observation.
Yeah. You could use yours for stabbing as well, couldn't you?
Yeah, it was.
That's cool.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
I can keep people at range. I can like
put work angles,
spar with them. Use a shield. I really did some work right at the start of the battle. I should say this is the shortest battle, inverted commas, you will ever hear about.
So yeah.
So then, when did you first become aware of the giant monsters?
So I saw one of these Eti camps, okay, and we fought those before.
Yeah. These are which ones are
They
the
look like
camps?
crustaceans,
They're the
hands,
kind of
things.
man in a suit,
Yeah.
crustaceans, yeah.
And they were kind of littered amongst the husks.
I've fought them, I've killed them.
I've killed them, Dave.
Yeah.
You know, I've been traumatically wounded by one and lived to tell the tale.
Yeah, they're rough, but we can do this.
So I shoot one. It does the thing where it just kind of looks at me like, what the fuck? Yeah. Like, that doesn't mean anything.
It's traumatic, wound you.
Yeah. But I got, everybody on the line just held and kept that position.
You saw some dryads?
I didn't see any dryads, actually, but
I saw a dryad. We killed a dryad, definitely. But
peppered amongst all this is just a kind of a constant influx of husks. And then my eye casts upwards.
Up.
And it sees these big... Well, there's these beetle things, like these big beetle things. And then there's, like, these tree things.
They were enormous.
Like, really big.
Like, really, 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 really big. Like, I don't know, it felt like a building. Like a porter cabin.
And this is going through the woods, guys, right? This is crashing through the woods. Yeah. And
it's fast too.
That was the wild thing, right? Like, it was moving.
But it wasn't just one of them. I saw 2 of them at that stage.
I heard 3 by the end.
I heard that there were 3. I only ever saw 2.
Yeah, I only ever saw 2.
Because we turned and we ran.
They breathed on the line and that everything crumbled. Like...
I've never ever seen a route like it. Have you, in the entire time of playing?
No.
I've never seen sheer terror and horror and just people running. Callum was with us and he fell.
Yeah.
And it was like, he's fucking done for. Like, he literally thought he was dead. Like, the genuine terror of the situation. I heard that it was the scouts had warned people.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing that stopped us from getting encircled, so they were encircling us at the time.
Yeah.
We ran. I've never seen anything like it.
No, so we just pelted it. So, basically everybody's just started running past me. Right? I mean, bear in mind, I'm having an all right time at this point.
Yeah.
And then people in full plate. Like, at first, it's a few skirmishers running past me, and I'm like, okay, fair enough, they're moving to fill up something. But all of this, by the way, is happening in like 5 seconds in my mind. It's like, okay, they're moving somewhere. Then people in heavy armor are running past me, and I'm just like, the forward line has collapsed.
There was
immediate panic.
It was one of the best experiences I've had at Empire because of the literal terror.
It was terrifying, right?
Yeah.
We just turned and ran. I don't even know what was behind me. But basically, just as there's like at the end, I'm like I think I am the second from last person who got out. And it was basically,
if you were left behind,
yeah,
that's it. You're done.
Yeah, done. There's no way.
No one's coming back. No one's coming back for you.
There's just this narrow one person at a time corridor. That's the only way out at this point because everything's been crushed in so much. There's me and this lady behind me, and we're hustling to get over this bit. I go and I hear this whap and this cleave, and it gets me on the arm. Right, so all of a sudden, like, my arm's gone. So I'm like hobbling through, and I'm like, because the space, and like at this point, both me and the other person who's running alongside me are literally the last 2 people trying to get through this tiny gap. Like, good Dave literally just like runs in, grabs me and pulls me out and just like basically just stands me behind that line. At this point, she's getting like wailed on by these crazy like beastie things, like these Seti camps, and these orcs are just wailing into her. I thought she was dead. I literally I fell back to the line, got healed up, leaving thinking like she's dead, right? But apparently, Good Dave and some other Dornish heroes managed just to like save her and drag her out. I have no idea how.
That's ridiculous.
Like, it was absolutely like, I was definitely dead. If Dave didn't grab me, I was dead. Like, if fire didn't save me, like, Talos would be completely fucked.
I don't know if we lost anyone on it.
I don't know. I think we might have lost some, but it could have been a lot worse.
Any number you said to me would be plausible.
I wouldn't.
Or
I
zero.
think not many actually.
No, I think it'll be a small amount if it was, right? But anyway,
basically,
we ran all the way back, right?
And the weird thing, like the Valoran basically walk up to this point and then just turn around and shamble back.
They're not even interested.
They're just like,
we have a bit of we rally bravely. Oh yeah, I couldn't stop but helping thinking of brave, brave, brave Sir Robin when we were running away. That's exactly, there's a tune that was going on in my head. But we rallied, and then Sparrow was like, "Hey, we ran away. It's probably the right decision who wants to go out there and fight them? And we were all like, yeah. And then he goes, who here thinks we would win? And then it was like, and it was just like, right, we're getting the hell out of here. We've only got 5 minutes and it's all over. It was designed for a loss, I think.
Yeah.
But one hell of a goddamn experience.
It was amazing. Like the terror. The horror.
Yeah, it
so
was
good.
like that though. It was fantastic.
It was amazing. But the other really cool thing that happened to me in that was, while the decision was being made, like I really wanted to go and get them. Like weirdly, like and like as you say, the question was literally like that. It was like, you know, is everybody up for another go at them? And I was like, yes.
Yeah,
and then when he said like, can we win?
Totally.
And I was like, no, but I still wanted to go anyway. And then this Dornish player calls out like, let's end this. Let's not put any more time to this feud, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, I just called out like, this is the Valorn. This is no mere feud kind of thing.
Oh
And
yeah,
it was awesome, right? And I really he kind of came back at me, and at that point we were kind of withdrawing and stuff. But it was really cool IP, and I really appreciate it. I think it really was. Yeah, it was really cool. It was nice to have like that back and forth.
The Valorn are Anyway, let's not go on about
that.
Yeah,
no, it was really great. So yeah, we just left, like literally just left, and it was the completely the right decision. Yep. So after that, I headed off to the library.
Mm-hmm.
This is real sort of narcissism. I just wanted to basically
off the library.
I just kind of wanted to see my book. Like,
wow.
I know it's really narcissistic. So
you went to the library and checked your book out?
No, well, I just was interested to see if it was there. But when I got there, it was like massive ego trip. I get there and I see that someone's reading it. It was so nice. Yeah, I just didn't say anything. I just kind of walked around and left.
Oh, that is the author's dream.
It was really nice, dude. Like the ego trip of it was great. It was dude. It's completely narcissistic.
That's amazing.
But I loved it. I had a great time.
Oh, do you know one thing I forgot to write on my little notes here? Is the drumming. I went to the drumming school.
That was on Friday, wasn't it?
Oh, did I miss that? Yeah, I missed it. Damn it.
Well, do you want to do it quickly now? It's fine.
Yeah, well, Sparrow put on a drumming thing.
Yeah.
And I got my tambourine.
Yeah.
I was really looking forward to playing. I got there late.
Yeah.
Sat down, played a bit of tambourine.
Yeah.
There were two young winter markers sat next to me.
Yeah.
So I handed them my tambourine and they played.
Was it good fun though?
It was really good. I played my knees. But yeah, Sparrow, well done, bud. That was really, really good. I really enjoyed it. So more in the future. He wants me to encourage me to get a drum, and I'm like, I need to play the tambourine first.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I want to master that, and then I'll move on to the drum.
Graduated from the tambourine.
Yeah, the tambourine's tough right now, so we'll see how it goes.
But yeah, no, it was. I think that was a really good fun thing to have, and Keys went as well. He's played by Bungle.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you both went.
That was kind
of cool. Yeah.
It seems
like a really good fun time. So, yeah, back to Saturday.
Yeah, sorry.
No, I think that was worth. It was definitely worth going into.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. So after the library, I went off to the Bourse, and basically I still had this copy of my book that was boxed. It was the nice one, the one I'd entered into the competition the previous season. So I wanted to enter into the public Bourse auction. I've tried like so many times, but every time I go too late, and the list of lots has been taken up. So next time I'm just going to have to go really early, I think, and just get it done, because I'd love just to enter it into the public auction and just see what I get for it. It'd be kind of cool.
Hell yeah, that'd be awesome.
Just good
especially
fun,
if you were there to watch it.
Yeah, I mean, or even if I'm not, just to turn up and then like I've got a pittance, or I've got like loads.
You gotta watch it. You gotta watch your own auction.
Yeah, it was cool.
Amazing.
So
especially the last of the first editions.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. No, it would be great. That would be really good fun. But after that, I basically just decided I was going to head back to Urizen, just catch up, see what's going on, try and find Vespia and apologise for not being able to make the skirmish because I wasn't able to on the previous evening. But I headed over there and I bump into Lanius, and he's teaching these two Navari the ways of magic. And they're people who've just graduated from the academy, I think. So they're kind of just sort of finding their way in the game. And it was really cool, man. So it was like, this Navari had brought them over there to sort of learn the ways of magic from Urizen, and it's, a really nice introduction, like, to the nation and stuff. And then one of them happened to ask about alchemy. as I was being introduced to, as I was sort of introducing myself to Lanius. And I was just like, oh, well, if you're interested in alchemy, and I reached down, I pull out my book, and I just was like, let's just go and brew a potion right now. Right? So...
You're alchemy guy.
It was really cool to be able to just... And there was a couple of times this happened during this whole event, where I was literally like, oh, here there's this potion that does this. I was like, oh, 1 second, I'll look in the book. And it was so much fun.
Don't crease it. You'll lower its value.
No, actually, I've got my own copy.
That
I keep on, yeah.
Sorry, apologies. Yeah. Of course you have.
Actually, my copy is like way more ghetto than all the actual ones I sell. It's like, yeah, it's not. It like some of the information's missing and stuff. It doesn't have the same index and things. But it's like the first one I ever bound. So it's kind of, yeah, that's why I keep that one.
Interesting.
But anyway, so
you keep a defective version of it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So basically, I was just like, you want to cure you want to make an elixir vitae, which is basically a potion that heals you. Let's just go and do it. It only costs 2 herbs. Mm-hmm. I was like, I'll pay for it. Went to the potion area, and I gave her the cards and told her what to tell the people behind the potion desk. Crafted a potion, walked out, went back to Urizen. Yeah, it was awesome. Like, it was just really cool. Like, to be able to help a new player, and like the people coming out of the academy have got so much keen, right? They're so into the game. It was awesome. So yeah, and then just sort of hung with Lanius for a little bit, spoke with him, and then I saw Vespian. And his friend, and basically went and sort of introduced myself to them, apologised for not being able to make it. I think Vespian said actually he didn't make the skirmish in the end either. But yeah, so I think it turned out fine.
You hadn't done a terrible thing.
So you know me. So but yeah, and then he took me inside the Phoenix Reach tent, and inside there they had a gallery full of like all these sort of arts that the various people of Urizen had kind of made and put on display. And they were like really nice paintings. Like there was this really nice painting of these trees that were all entwining, and each branch represented, and it was a multicolored tree as well. So each sort of, I don't know, like knot of the tree, I suppose, was a different color. And each one represented one of the different spires in Urizen and stuff.
Wow.
And then some of them were flowering and some of them weren't, and you had to sort of work out which colors represented which things and what the symbolism of that was. It was really interesting.
That's awesome.
Like he actually, the artist was there, talking. Like Vespian was talking me through it a bit as well. But the artist was there actually taught me through the piece. It was cool, right? To have to literally go to an art gallery.
How very of you, Ian.
It was cool, dude. And then like
an art museum, like gallery.
Yeah, like an art gallery, like a proper art gallery. But then the best part was there was an auction going on at the same time, and someone calls out, "So we're going to hold the auction to name the cocktails at the bar." Like, it was such an awesome thing, right? And I remember like Vespian was like, "Oh, this is too rich for our blood," and I was just like, I don't know, I've got like quite a few thrones on me. I'm tempted to have a cocktail in Urizen named after me. It would be so cool.
How much was the going rate?
Well, Vespian did just say like, "This is too rich for our blood." So it's like, oh, okay, well then. But like as a game objective, that would be so cool to have like a cocktail named after me in another nation.
The hero of Recreational. Which I might call my ship actually. By the way, I'm thinking my ship might be called the hero of Recreational.
That would be so funny. But no, so that was cool. So basically, then. I said, look, I'm going to take you guys out they were going to head to Varushka. I was like, cool, I'll take you there and I'll buy you guys a drink. So we head off to Urizen. It was cool just to walk around with the Urizen and just went off to this place. I bought, and it was the same gambling den that we'd been into before. And the people there, they all recognised me. They're like, oh, should we set up the table, get all the stuff, get gambling or whatever? I was like, oh no, not tonight. I'm here with some Urizeni, we're drinking. And I was like, well, what have you got? Unfortunately, because everyone I think had just drunk so much. I think all they had on them at the time was like mead, and Vespian's not really into like sweet drinks. But he was like, okay, I have a little bit of mead, so I gave them both a mead. So it was kind of cool RP in the end. It was kind of like I took them both to Varushka and I gave them drinks they didn't like.
Yeah,
but I'm making diplomacy friends.
Yeah. Diplomacy working. Take them out for a big afternoon out. Basically,
it was cool. I really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it.
So. This is a cool bit that happened next, right? So
well, no, because I was doing all of this and I didn't know anything about what you're about to talk about, pretty much until the end of the actual event.
Okay, so we walked past a hubbub,
right,
outside of the orc camp,
right,
a hubbub,
right,
lots of orcs, lots of stuff going on. We walked past it, not really knowing what was going on.
Yeah.
Then we got back to the camp, and then I can't remember how we heard, but we were like, there's a bloody Marchers hate group outside the Orc camp.
Right.
And we're like, what? So we grab our swords and weapons, you know what I mean? I'm going to go down there. Imperial Orcs, or Imp Orcs, as the cool kids say, by the way, which I've learnt this event. Imp Orcs is ridiculous. The Imperial Orcs are striding are a friend of theirs. Yeah. And we must go and let them know they are not alone. They can handle themselves. Yeah, yeah. But it doesn't mean that they need to do this struggle alone, you know? Yeah, yeah. So we went down there tooled up, looking for a fight.
Yeah, we're kind of really pro Imperial Orc, and I think that's like the Ashbourne especially. Like we've got like a really good stance towards them.
Got pretty good ties.
Yeah, yeah. We've got links and things.
We got friendly interaction.
Yeah. We care, right?
So we got down there. Militia trying to break the whole thing up. Bear in mind, it turns out it's these marchers that want to ban forks.
Okay.
Not very subtly, they are the forks are a danger to the Empire and must be eliminated immediately. And they're going and spreading this message outside the Orc camp.
Didn't they literally put up like a sign or something?
I think they had signs. They were just generally antagonistic. The militia come in and try and basically stop these guys getting murdered by Imperial Orcs because there's so many Imperial Orcs. The whole camp's out there giving them shit, basically.
Yeah.
Militia stride in, bring them in, arrest them. So we're like, oh, we'll come along for this. It sounds brilliant. Follow them along, get them inside. And we actually know a militiaman who's actually our neighbour, right? So we go and speak to Ben, kind of get the lay of the land. And he's like, they might be a hate group. Yeah. But we don't think they've broken a law. There's no law against it.
Not against hating forks, right? Or whatever.
No law against that.
So, and I heard that basically they questioned him for like an hour. And he just spoke for an hour. Yeah. And basically just...
He had hidden messages, like ciphers he had letters on him. Yeah. And there were ciphers as part of the letters.
Wow.
Dude.
But he just gamed it.
Dude, there are provocateurs out there who just want to watch the world burning.
Like Icy, it's awful. But OC, it's amazing. Genius. It's amazing game.
I mean, literally, the militia loved it. They absolutely loved it.
Fucking crazy, dude.
Because it was just such, game.
Up and down the field, people were talking about it. I said before, I think
there was it was a hooded figure or a masked figure or something. And there's this instant mythos of the cult that hates orcs. Do you know what I mean? It's fucking brilliant.
Yeah, dude, it was fantastic. Like the thing is, I didn't know all of the details. I just heard the rumors. So I didn't really hear about all the details until basically towards the end of the event, like on the Sunday. But it sounds amazing.
Yeah, hats off to them. I got invited to go down to the Hall of Worlds.
Yeah, so you had a couple of offers actually, didn't you? A couple of elementals you'd have the chance to see, but you weren't able to see the first one or something.
There was, so I didn't know anything about that.
Right.
But they, basically I was going down there with Richard, and he was like, there's, and Dan. And we were going to be looking to meet this guy, what's his name?
Segura, is it?
Segura.
Yeah.
Don't know anything about him.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Well, all I remember was Richard saying, I think, that it really likes sweet things.
Yes.
And
it was sad because it had recently lost its favourite mortal. Yeah. This is all
that's all I knew.
Double Dutch to me at this stage, right?
Yeah.
Go down to the gate. I have to put Richard guides me through it. Put my hand on the stone. Give a bit of chat about the waves and the wind and all that stuff, and then I open the portal, and then
you actually opened the portal to
and then
that's really cool. I didn't know you did that.
Yeah, it's cool. Like, dude, I'm trying to do as much as I can.
That's
right?
Great. So good. So did Richard just kind of walk you through what you had to do?
Yeah, and then
that's really cool.
I got to do my thing.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and then go into what was on at the time Conclave.
Right.
Which is the...
I guess it's like the Wizard Council?
It's the religious...
Okay.
Wizard Council. Yeah, you're right. It was a meeting.
Yeah.
It was a lot of people very orderly. Actually, it's one of the most ordered, eloquent, well delivered. Like the people that went up and spoke were really eloquent and really put a performance on with it. Like it was like they were their characters and they made really good arguments. Loads of the emotions basically carried immediately. Right. I think we walked in there just as a very controversial election of some type, and that was very, very close indeed. Right. I think they had to do the count like 2 or 3 times.
Interesting.
And that's the first thing that happened when we walked in. Also, the first thing that happened when I walked in, lots of drinking. Yeah. Lots of people had bottles of booze with them. A lot. These 2 guys came and sat down next to me. We get in there. Richard and Dan go somewhere else, or Dan's still there. I've got a free bench. These 2 guys come and sit next to me. First thing they do is bring out some booze. And I'm like, what's that? And he goes like, oh, it's such and such. So I try it. And I'm like, fuck, that's horrible. And I hand it back to him. And it wasn't bad actually, but it was strong.
Yeah, it's strong, yeah.
And he goes, oh, well, try this. And he hands me this other bottle. I take that and take a slug of that. And it's like really delicious. Like it's whatever it was. Yeah. Brandy or something. Hand it back to him. It's like, yeah. Do you know what? This is okay. Do you know what I mean? Like everyone's just buckling themselves in.
I tell you what I like, actually, and this is only really what I've heard, so you'll have to sort of really confirm it for me, but you've got all these different, if you like, forums. So you've got the military sort of council, you've got the Senate, and you've got conclave and stuff like that. And each one has a very different feel.
Yes,
and a very different way of managing things.
Stuff that goes on.
Yeah. Discussion ultimately is what takes place.
Discussion and RP
and voting.
Yeah, lots of voting. Interestingly, it seems as though they had to pay 1 mana a time every time they wanted to speak. And there were different. Seems as though there were different covens that had the floor. Right. And they were recognised by conclave. This is. I'm watching this like a foreigner, watching a political system that I'm just trying to work out how it works.
I think that's really cool, right? Going in as a beginner, and it must be overwhelming, but interesting.
It was a lot. It was really hot in there. Yeah. Anyway, so Segura comes out, right? But conclave is still going on, right? So it's really hot, and everyone wants to go and see Segura. And Segura is a big fella who's like, he's jolly. He's like he's fucking Santa,
right? Okay,
right? And it's like everyone wants to go and talk to him. And everyone's giving him sweets. Yeah. And I'm like, I haven't got any fucking sweets. Yeah. I don't know who this guy is. Yeah. You know, do you know what? I probably should have stayed. Yeah. But for it being 9:30 when we said we were going to meet at 9. Yeah. And I was like, I want to go and take some Goose Whisper.
Yes. So this, I guess, this is the other backdrop. I could be here
for another half an hour before I get to go and talk to Santa about whatever. I don't know what I'm going to talk to him about because I don't know the guy.
Yeah, I think you made the right decision.
I'm full of regret now, though.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I suppose maybe but no.
There'll be other opportunities. Your character's going to go to the Hall of Worlds again, right?
Yeah. Anyway, let's go to.
But the other thing, so the preface to all of this is, as part of the Entwined Paths, there are a couple of alchemists there, and I was taking note. Talking to the different alchemists about what each of us, because basically potions come in sets and you unlock them with skill points is the way mechanically it works. Mm-hmm. So I was just trying to work out what pools of potions different people who are alchemists in the group can make. So we don't double up on stuff, we know who to talk to if we need to make things and so on like that. So I'm writing all these things down. And then there's this lovely lady who says that she can make, I think it's called like the Ritual of Feathers. If I open a book, I'll be able to tell you. But that is basically a set of potions that has like hallucinogenic kind of weird RP drug things in them.
Oh, hold on. So a lot of the drugs are created by people at Empire?
Yeah. So we made
So Bite is made by players?
Yeah, I think... actually, no. Bite, I think, is acquired from a foreign nation. I'm not sure.
Okay. But Goose Whisper is
so that's what I was getting to. So, yeah. One of these potions is called Goose Whisper. And Goose Whisper is basically... My understanding of it at this point, anyway, is that you get a card... and a ref tells you what kind of happens, kind of thing. They describe the ritual to you, and I didn't know whether or not it affected multiple people or just one. I just didn't know the rules on it, but I managed to piece it together by talking to people, and basically, I just thought, I paid for this Goose Whisper, and I just walk around this thing. I was like, fine, we're all going to do weird RP drugs and have a vision. And I didn't know what it would entail. Like I didn't know anything about it.
This is my cringe limit.
Right.
this is where my line is. I know where it is. It's doing fake drugs.
Yeah, it was kind of weird.
That's where my cringe limit is right now. Okay, that might change. Who knows?
Yeah.
I might become a massive junkie at Empire. But it was like, we're going to do some fake drugs at Empire.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. But at the same time, I personally really enjoyed it.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And everything that came out the back of it. Basically, we all sat around, threw it on the fire, we all breathed it in.
Yeah.
And then there was a...
Basically on the card, there's a description of the effects that you go through. And also before we all did it, I read from my book and described, what it did and how it would affect you and all this kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. Which was kind of cool. That was some nice RP to be able to do and I actually know about this. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
And then we all did it. So it's this whole thing. If you have these different auras and stuff.
There's a rumor that if you weren't from Wintermark and you took it, then you would suffer a traumatic wound.
Yeah. Some of the can be kind of different.
The hearsay was all sorts, wasn't it? Who knows what's true?
So anyway, I decided I'd take it first, which is, as a physic, not a very clever idea, because obviously if I got injured, there'd be no one to help. But anyway, that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And the way that basically we all had this kind of effect that, we kind of acted, RP'd out, like, hallucinating and seeing swirling patterns. I kind of ended up reclining really heavily until I was basically horizontal in my seat, for example. Mm-hmm. All kinds, just generic stuff, right? It was good fun. And then me and I've forgotten his name. It's awful. But because we had two of these Goose Whispers, so me and the other chap, we headed off to find out what the rules are, because it says that you have to go to a referee. Mm-hmm. So we both headed off to God, while you guys all went off to Dawn to a bar there.
Yeah, then we went off. We were said to a whole bunch of the Entwined Paths people, we're going to meet at the Wise Guys bar in Dawn.
Yes.
At a certain time.
Yeah.
So we headed over there, and there's a lot of we're all chatting on, like us being seeing spirals and all sorts of craziness on the way over there. Now, me and Sinwig have been having a kind of a flirtatious relationship for a while, all weekend, and he went out with Dave and got matching brands of him on his neck. And I acted like a jilted lover at this stage during the afternoon. And he was like, no, don't be like that. And I was just like, yeah, whatever. You want to hang out with, fire, that's fine. Whatever, man. So the first thing I do when I approach the table, I just see him and I go, let's get married. And then Simon, I can't remember Simon's character's name, jumps up and goes, let's get a fucking priest. And then there was a priest at the next table, so I get pulled over there, and I'm acting like I'm so wasted, so I just start leaning back, and Callum's holding me in one arm while I'm leaning back, and then he dumps me off, I think, to Bungle, and he's like, I'm lying at a 45-degree angle back, while a priest I remember Callum saying something like, quick, he's going to pass out. Let's do this. And then the priest marries us. Yeah. So and I've got an hour of, it's an hour from when you take it for it to end, right?
Yeah. That's amazing. So, what a good game.
This is, again, way near my cringe meter on All Things LARP. And I'm the one that instigated it.
It's so... I didn't know anything about
I
this.
need to find out about divorce or work out with Callum what the fuck that even means. Drunken shit is dangerous when you're at LARP, basically.
Oh, dude, it was so good. So, but the thing is, this happened literally during the period I was getting this vision from this referee.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know anything about the wedding, by the way. That all happened while I was busy getting
wedding is a strong... That's definitely...
The extremely official wedding, which will probably have ceremonial cups and cutlery forthwith.
It was a bad do.
But while that was going on, I was off at the hub, basically getting whatever the effect is of this Goose Whisper. Mm-hmm. And basically you just go up to the ref and you say, we both got Goose Whisper, show them the card, they have a quick read. They're like, right, okay. They just pull out this bag and they're like, in this bag are a bunch of visions, pull one out, read it. You can't write anything down. You can't, take a picture or anything like that. You just have to memorize it and then put it back in the bag.
Sure.
I thought, fuck it, I'm going to take the biggest sheet of paper in the bag. And I was like, I'm going to take the big one. He's like, you got to remember it all. I was like, fuck
Your
it.
story was ridiculous.
So I got this ludicrous vision. Well, I'm not even going to repeat here. If you want to know about it, ask me IC.
That was a dolphin.
And a blue-haired man.
Blue-haired man. A naked blue-haired man.
I know, I was on a fast ship. That's all I'm going to say. and there was a big sea beastie. There was all kinds of stuff.
It was...
like the story. So basically, I
was
stumbled...
pretty drunk at the time. And when you came up to tell the story, I was like, where the fuck is Ian going with this? Right? Like, I was like, where... Like...
So
this is the most incoherent, crazy fucking story I've ever heard.
So I basically stumble up to the table. And I am like, I have had a vision. And I sort of slam my hand on the ground and everybody's like listening, you know. And it was really cool to actually deliver that. I'm not naturally a confident person.
It was a great story, but it was a long-ass bonkers
It was a
fucking story.
long story. But the cool thing was everybody was kind of like, occasionally someone would cut into the story or ask questions about the story. And I could ad-lib off that.
It's about a fucking dolphin and a blue person. Shut up. Like, let him finish.
But yeah, it was really cool because by the end, everybody was actually really keen to hear the end and stuff. It was cool. I really enjoyed it, like delivering it and having everybody respond to it and just the bonkersness of it.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be doing more drugs at Empire unless it has direct... Let me put it this way. I don't think Goose Whisper is a party drug. I don't think it's a party drug.
I can see Talus using it again.
Yeah.
But
mainly for visions.
Yeah.
than...
I'm toying with the idea... And then I don't think I will do this, but I'm toying with the idea of a lot like not an addiction, but a kind of a fascination of using Goose Whisper for visions, and just basically being someone who does it a lot, like one after the other after a while.
Yeah.
And
God.
yeah, I don't think I will do that just because it seems like quite a lot.
It's also very expensive.
Yeah, it's very expensive. But we can maybe work that out. Well, I mean, I've got all the herbs. So.
Yeah. Met some nice orcs.
Yeah.
Found out orcs make love like humans do.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. It was a crazy... Like, we were all very drunk.
It was a good time, though. And the orcs gave me even more booze, so always like someone that gets me a drink.
I forgot, actually, just before all of this. So this is... Oh, no, this is just after this, actually. We all go and break off and head off to another bar. I think we go to Wintermark.
We're in... Oh, no.
No, we're in Dawn at that point. We go off to Wintermark. I think I might be having this in reverse order, by the way.
Yeah, no.
But anyway, we get led there by an orc who is called Iron-Tide Kron.
Wasn't this on Friday?
I don't think it might have been. If it is, I apologise. I'm inserting it now. But basically, I get talking to him and he tells me that he's a bard, a heroic bard. Basically, his job is to basically put people on their kind of path and introduce them to people and all this kind of stuff and inspire you essentially to produce great deeds. It's not about being a bard who sings or tells stories as such, although they can do that. It's more about inspiring you to take action, which was really cool. And I was like, I want to basically increase people's drive on the Valorn. And he was like, okay, let's go in the Wintermark tent right now. I know Mother Fane in there. Who's basically like this crown wearer or something in Wintermark, and like she's politically like pretty important, right? And I'm like, oh man, okay, right, let's do this then. And I get basically taken in, introduced by this orc who just is straight up like, here's a guy who wants to speak to you about the Valorn. I think you should listen to what he has to say, kind of thing.
Bang.
And just like introduced me and stuff, and she was like, she set aside her drink, and then I was like, I'm gonna drink, you know, we might as well just drink and do this, right? So we just sort of sit down, and we just start talking about the Valorn and about the threat of the Valorn. But it was really interesting because I really wanted to play as diplomatically as possible, right? And so I played it like, you know, you tell me what we're doing that is making things difficult for you, and I told her what I thought we were doing as Navarre that was making things difficult for them as well. Like my perspective on it. What do you think about it? Can we do this better to help you so you can help us, kind of thing? Because ultimately, I want to get as many of your forces in to Brokelian to help against the Valorn as possible. But Wintermark have taken a kicking up in the north. And they have to make, a lot of sacrifices for the Empire, right? Because they are so numerous. So it was really interesting we talked for like an hour, and it was like a full-on political conversation. It was really interesting, really kind of opened my eyes to, pursuing that part of the game.
Yeah, you were pretty stoked about the whole thing.
Yeah, that was really cool. But yeah, sorry, I think that was on Friday. I think you're wrong. So again, I apologise for flying us back there.
Yeah.
So the last thing, I guess, it was going to Songs and Stories. Did you not go to Songs and Stories?
I saw a couple of minutes of it.
Right.
I was done.
So basically, at this point, Kaylee's got a song, and I think this may have come earlier as well. So I apologise again if I've got the order out. But she basically sings this song with some winter markers. And it was really cool because it was like, this is someone I know who is singing, and it's like, it's a lot to stand up in that Songs and Story Titan circle and tell something or sing something. And yeah, she did an amazing job. It was cool, like, and it inspires me because obviously I'd written something previously and we were thinking about doing it. Yeah,
we should.
Yeah.
We should just pull our finger out and get it done, basically.
Yeah. It would be great. So yeah, and the other really cool thing was, we've got a character in the Navarchers called Yolona, I think, and she has basically made a Navarchers song and just like sang it, and it was really cool because it was obviously we'd lost a Navarcher and Tyrus, and the previous one we'd lost Rowan, and I think she sang it the first time for him when he died. So it's cool to have it sung with like the idea of Tyrus,
Mm-hmm.
It was cool. It was like, it was really, really cool. So yeah, Songs and Stories was fantastic. Yeah, it was really nice. But yeah, so that was my Saturday.
Yeah, brilliant.
Sorry, it was a long one.
No. It's well, we'll get it done, right? So tomorrow,
Sunday,
the monstering battle.
big monstering battle.
Cool. All right, join us in. Bye.
Yeah, boy.
Hello? Can you see us?
And hear you. I am Edith Hardew. It is a pleasure to meet you.
Likewise, but what is this place? Or maybe a better question would be when?
You have not moved in time or space. The device only shows an echo of the past, a memory long forgotten.
I don't understand.
Understanding is not important now. If you are here and talking to me, then you must seek access to the Tower of Anok.